Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. So today we will discuss one of the poem of Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Kubla Khan, or A Vision in a Dream of Fragment. S.T Coleridge was one of the founder of Romantic movement as he launched lyrical ballads with the collaboration of William Wordsworth, but his writing style was quite different from William Wordsworth. Wordsworth praises nature, adore nature and worship nature, while Coleridge, of course, he likes nature, but he always wants to experiment with nature. He loves to explore the wild side of nature, mysterious side of nature, and that we call supernatural. So, something beyond human comprehension. We cannot make sense of it, that how it happens. One more thing that differentiate him from other romantic poets, that he wants to know more about human minds, that how creativity works and how human minds make sense of things. There are certain things that are subjective, like the concept of beauty, pleasure. One thing that is beautiful to me, maybe not for you as. So again, he wants to know how human minds make sense of beauty, pleasure. And as he was patient of mental disease and opium was given him for treatment, but later on he addicted of it. According to history, S.T. Coleridge himself admitted that he wrote the poem under the influence of opium, because as he was not feeling well, and after taking opium he slept for a while, and then he saw a dream, and when he woke up he immediately started to write it. But in the middle of the poem, after two stanzas, he was interrupted by someone. There was a visitor who wanted to see him. This interruption caused him to forget most of his dream. He tried to grab the scattered images, pen them down, and keep this unpublished for a long time. So in last stanza he regret, and he struggling and unable to recall the dream. So he called it a fragment because he is unable to complete it. So let's start the poem. The title Kubla Khan. Kubla Khan symbolizes power, violence, brutality, and he gives the title Kubla Khan. And though the poem is not about Kubla Khan, it is about something that Kubla Khan had built, and it is more about the creation there than about the Kubla Khan, and also on the celebration of art. So let's begin from the very first line. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately player dome decree means order, where Alf the sacred river ran. When the poem begins, he says Kubla Khan ordered his men to build a huge mighty palace called Player Dome, where he can happy and enjoy the mightiness of his wealth, health. It is expected that the interior of the palace will be described like jewels, crowns, beautiful walls, and all these things. But again, it is surprising that interior is totally ignored. It is all about exterior, the mystery surround the palace. That is what he explained throughout. So he says that when he gave order, this shows his power, strength, and immediately his demand fulfilled. And now the description of palace starts. A stately player dome decree, where Elf the sacred river ran through caverns measureless to man, down to sunless sea. Elf is again something imaginary. There is no real place with the name of Elf, but as a literature student, we can of course explore what is Elf. Elf is from the Greek word alpha. Alpha is a, so the beginning of something or origin of something, powerful origin. Through caverns measureless to man, down to sunless sea. These two words are very important here, measureless and sunless, because if we remove these two words, then it is a simple description that our palace is surrounded by caves and sea. Why sea? Because it is surrounded by streams end up in river, and river end up in sea. But the mystery are supernatural elements added by using the adjectives measureless and sunless, because human mind always try to make sense of things. For example, if there is sea, human try to calculate the depth of the sea. So he says that there are caves and seas measureless. So this is the mystery. It invokes your imagination. What is that? Why is measureless? Again, something whatever beyond human ability to comprehend, to understand, that is always attractive to us. Why is always attractive? Because they cannot make sense of it. And he says sunless sea because sea is so deep. As we know, light can penetrate to some extent, to some point, and so he says that even the depth of the sea is not known. That is why says sea is dark and sunless, again something adding mystery to the place. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground, with walls and towers were girdled round, and there were gardens bright with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree, and here were forests ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. It is a simple description. Here the word use ancient. Ancient word also make you curious how ancient, how old, because old things always attractive. A great place surrounded by miles of land, and that land is so huge that there are complete forest in that, and there are small sinuous rills mean streams, which will end up in river, and river end up in sea, and there are trees with beautiful fragrance, and forest as ancient as the hills and enfolding sunny spots of greenery. Now what happened? But oh, that deep romantic chasm which slanted down the green hills athwart a cedron cover, a savage place as holy and enchanted as ever beneath a waning moon, was haunted by women wailing for her demon lover. So he says that after forest where streams ending up into river, and you know streams are always calm, but when they change into large water bodies such as river, they become wild, and even when when they further change into larger water body, they become of course more dangerous and wild. So he says that at that point there is a huge chasm that is so dark and huge. So here we can say a word abyss to describe it. Abyss means dark, bottomless. So to add mystery to the place, and also it is a metaphor for the limitation of human mind, because there are certain things which our mind cannot comprehend, and we label that things as supernatural, mysterious, miracle. And then he is trying to explain what kind of crack, abyss or chasm. He says that it is as mysterious, as haunted as if a woman fall in love with a devil, and she under the full moon she is crying loudly for that devil. So he says that the strange feeling, the horror you feel when you see that woman, he says the same horror you feel when you look into the chasm, that gap, that crack. And he called this place savage, holy, and enchanted. Again, it is also the characteristic of human mind, the power which makes you sacred, same power make you more brutal as well. As we talk about Kubla Khan and brutal wars of his grandfather Genghis Khan, so he says that savage place. So savage place can be your mind as well, okay, as a sacred place, and at the same time it can be enchanted. He has magical powers. Magical powers means the powers of creativity, power of imagination. You can imagine things which don't even exist in the real world. That is why he called it a sacred. But of course here he is saying the sacred place to that place of palace. And from this chasm with ceaseless turmoil seething, you can also see here the word ceaseless. So all these words with suffix less add mystery of the place. As we have seen in previous stanza that he used the words mirrorless, sunless. So all these words add mystery of the place. Ceaseless means unstoppable, something in continuous motion. And from this chasm with ceaseless turmoil seething, and if this earth is fast, thick pants were breathing, a mighty fountain momently was forced, amid whose swift half-intermittent burst, huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail, or chaffy grain beneath the thresher's flail. Another mystery object which he find in this place is that when the streams turned into river, he says at certain points of river, this is a sort of a violent fountain is coming out of the river. At certain point, It is inexplainable where this water coming from. At certain points the river is so violent, sort of fountain is coming out, and it is so dangerous and violent, and even it carries the solid rocks which is coming out with force. The rocks go even to the large distance of miles and kilometers, and he says that I cannot explain again. One interpretation of this can be that it can also be the struggle of life, that when a smooth river is interrupted by these kind of fountains, somehow you have to struggle with the force of these fountains. It can also be, as we are talking about Coleridge, S.T Coleridge, that the struggle and effort you face in your journey of your creativity, journey of your imagination. As an artist, he wants to make a masterpiece, but there comes a points where some obstacles to his imagination, obstacle to his art. So again, it is a dream, and as a literature student we are just trying to make sense of it. Here he also used two metaphors or similes to explain these fountains. First one is, as if this earth is fast, thick pants were breathing. Panting means breathing with short, quick breath, out of breath. So he says that the point at which fountains are coming out seems like as this earth is panting. These are the places is where earth is exhausted and taking the deep breath. This is the one simile which he used here to explain the kind of fountains, what kind of fountains are. Here also use the personification in the same line, as earth cannot breathe. So here he also used personification. And second metaphor is used here, or chaffy grain beneath the thresher's flail. Thresher machine that separate grains from corn or other crops by beating. This is another metaphor which he used to explain. He says that the way fountain throwing the stones, the small pieces of rocks, it is as somebody is using that thresher and crops are spreading all around. And mid these dancing rocks at once and ever, it flung up momently the sacred river, 5 miles meandering with a mazy movement through woods and dale. The sacred river ran, then reached the caverns mirrorless to main, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. So the rocks that are coming out bursting fountain at certain points of river, that he is calling dancing rocks. Okay, see, firstly he created a very sort of horrifying and mysterious environment, that something unusual is happening in the river, and then he added beauty and pleasure by saying rocks coming out as if something is dancing. Now even the path of river is also mysterious and mazy. Okay, like a maze you have to solve in order to find out your way. Again shows nature is not very well shaped, nature always wild, and that is what makes nature beautiful. That's what add mystery and beauty of the nature. So now this is the path of water. Firstly the streams are there, streams change into river, and in river there were fountains, and that river entered the caves, again a huge cave, and from passing through cave water falling into the ocean. And mid this tumult Kubla heard from far ancestral voices professing war. So something is very interesting, when from a calmer water body water change into bigger water body, like streams are calm when they become river they are violent, and when they become sea they are more dangerous and even louder. So he says in these lines that when that water fell into ocean, noise is created. Again something dangerous, something horrifying, and he says that Kubla Khan felt as if that noise is actually the noise of his forefathers, which is sort of pushing him or encouraging him for the war. And Kubla Khan is somehow makes sense of it, and you know, as the sound is so powerful, he feels like as it is a message from his ancestors is to go for the war. Second, maybe it is justification for brutality. This also can be applied in the context as you are talking about Coleridge. He is very much obsessed with creativity, imagination, that how a masterpiece art can be created when writers come out of their comfort zone, when writers try to explore. There is limitation to human mind, but there is no limitation for exploration. Human imagination has no end. Human creativity has no end. The shadow of the dome of Player floated midway on the waves, where was heard the mingled murmur from the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, a sunny Player dome with caves of ice. Again, this is the simple description of the palace. He says that when the streams changes into ocean and sea, so the reflection of full palace can be seen in that ocean. Here he used the word miracle because two opposite things are coexisting. Sunny Player dome with caves of ice. Sunny Player dome with caves of ice. Artist like a painter can paint anything you want. He can show you all the four seasons in one canvas. That is only possible through art. So here this is the celebration of art. So in the last stanza he uses his imagination. It was his real experience which he described in his last stanza. As he was interrupted by a visitor, so he lost most of the images of his dream. This is his real experience. He actually saw someone playing that instrument. A damsel with dulcimer. Damsel means young maiden, young girl with a dulcimer. Dulcimer is a kind of instrument, musical instrument. A damsel with a dulcimer in a vian once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her dulcimer she played, singing of mountain Abora. Could I revive within me her symphony and song? These two lines, last two lines, are very important here. Could I revive within me her symphony and song? He remembered after the interruption of visitor he could not revive the same flow. He says that same happened with me. Now he talks about magic of imagination, art. Could I revive within me her symphony and song? To such a deep delight it would win me, that with music loud and long I would build that dome in air, that sunny dome, those caves of ice. There was so much passion in her music which she was playing, so if I could revive the exact detail as an artist, I somehow convert that music into, you composed that in the form of poem. He says that I can actually build that palace of Kubla Khan again in the air. Air means in my imagination, through my art. This is the power of art. He establishing sort of relationship between reality and imagination, reality and creativity, imagination and creativity. He says, as an artist, I believe that I can again build the same palace of Kubla Khan, but just I need is the passion, the passion I experienced when I heard the song of that girl. As an artist, he believed that through his imagination he can even create things, even conjoining the paradoxes. The sunny dome and caves of ice, coexistence of two opposite things, and it symbolizes coexistence of reality and imagination. He is celebrating art, connecting imagination with reality. He believes artists are magician, as he talked about miracles, magic of art, the things which cannot exist in reality. And then starts the description of magician. And all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, beware, beware. His flashing eyes, his floating hair, weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy dread. For he on honey dew hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise. He says that the poet or artist is so powerful, just like a magician, and he says that if you ever see them, and their eyes are always flashing, hair floating. Why? Because when someone imagining something, he's not there in the present. So in order to celebrate the talent of artist, he describe all these. If you see an artist, just stay away from him and recite something holy and weave a circle thrice. Use two words for artist. He on honeydew hath fed and drunk the milk of paradise. These words shows that art is God gifted. Just like Wordsworth, he is also connecting the talent of art with heavenly things. It is something God gifted. Art is something directly from the heaven. It is given to certain people. Everyone is not able to do it. That imagination, that talent is directly from heaven, paradise. So throughout the poem, we have seen that there is celebration of art and artist. At one point, this whole palace of Kubla Khan, of course, is the celebration of art, but at the same time, symbolize life itself. Sometimes these days are calm and peaceful, like streams, and sometimes obstacles like fountains coming out of the stream. Sometimes life is strange, and we are unable to make sense of certain events in our life. Sometimes life is seems to be under control, and sometimes life is totally out of control, like river, ocean, and sea. Through imagination, through art, we can do anything. Impossible can be possible in the form of art. Art is always different from reality. Art is sort of paradox for reality, and this is the similarity between Wordsworth and Coleridge, that they believe in that art is heavenly in nature. So this was all about the poem, and I hope you guys got it. Thank you.